ahwefo native for mo bibiara ha sam akwa baba daily update so in case na wo hwe dwumadi na no subscribe na share na do comment enso a comment section ya beje bere na ya kan ya matifo ne ahwefo nyina so atibi na yenyina enim current news and as a current update ekoso yura minority leader ato forcing versus the public and ho asem anasisi currently etwagu na ato forcing sorry Okudzeto Ablakwa drop Exp0sẹy bi Exp0sẹy ben wa dropping it's about gofredami insem no can say gofredami ko obi a enko say as ba now as it stands now was say or resigning as attorney general or was say or resign or then on the resignation letter ba na omo a chese omo nam kwati kwan so prosecutor na withdraw mo because wo hwe ensem na abeto dwana amanfo bebre a prosecute amanfo bebre atim say enye mra kwa so ana say false allegations na ye de anam so prosecute because hwe the way attorney general any a third accused witness I friend Richard Jakpa enkitahudie ni nyina ne say attorney general eko Richard Jakpa say akabeya one system na nkomuntimi jele era ato forcing ensem a Okudzeto Ablakwa kwan no interview na na grant na radio go ye credit ma radio go pa sena na agena kunya Kesi no yegoti ensem a etwagu ya na se ensem a na omudi hu nkomo na omusa ka semfa ye owura Brian Champon yenyina njeze senate for any hotel so scandal bi na ababonte no Okudzeto Ablakwa ka nsem ba ku mienu bi fa ho a men say bre na ebeje bre na ya boru asansem na ekoti lawyer doctor Okudzeto Ablakwa nsem ana na woka na we fa comment share comment section I daily update TV so and then I will share dwumade na subscribe na share na do comment share wa mame ebeje bre na ya kan stay tuned.
Smiling all the way. So it is clear to me that this Attorney General will now have to face the music. He must face the consequences of his dishonorable actions. And I salute Mr. Jakpa, for really being courageous to expose him. Because if he was selfish and unpatriotic, he would have gone with it, thinking about his own personal freedom, aligned with the Attorney General, and then he wouldn't have cared about what happens to the other accused persons. The Honorable Minority Leader will have been sent to the slaughter. And by the time, through an appeal and a review and all of that, we will discover that all the witnesses who came and the evidence were all trumped up and they were all orchestrated, and it was just fabricated. A lot of harm will have been caused the Minority Leader and the other accused person. So I want to salute Mr. Jakpa for acting in the national interest, for being patriotic.
It is clear the allegations are serious, but so far, like you said, even the NDC, which has delved into this matter, the minority, you said you will present the evidence. There's no evidence out in the public domain yet. Clearly, he has something to respond to since the matter is on record in court. But on what basis would he resign when there's really no evidence to prove the allegation that has been put out? The evidence has not been presented yet.
My brother, the people who need the evidence and are not aware of the evidence are you and your listeners, the general public. But as for him, he knows. He knows. Why do you want to wait? Something that you know you have been involved in. And for the first time, this loquacious Attorney General, who has been talking all over the place, the most loud Attorney General this country has ever seen, even speaking about cases that are before the courts, when the judges always tell us that, hey, be careful of making prejudicial comments. You may make statements that are sub judice and all of that. This Attorney General has not cared, has been waxing lyrical always, right at the court premises, as soon as he comes out. Now he's hiding. Until this scandal, I didn't know that he has engaged a spokesperson. I never knew. He's been doing all the speaking himself. Did you know that he had a spokesperson? You were in the media.
It was the first time I heard.
Yes.
Heard him.
Yes. So, how long is he going to be hiding under his desk at the Attorney General's
So you're confident he knows?
He knows. He's aware.
What is being said is
So
true.
I can spare the Ghanaian public because they are waiting for the evidence, which will be put out at 2 p.m. today, the most anticipated press conference. But as for him, he knows. So instead of all these games claiming that he's publishing letters, he says that he also has some evidence that the minority leader. I mean, anytime these people do this, look, it is your matter. You must defend yourself. You must give us reason to believe that what is being said about you is not true. Then you are beating around the bush. Then you are saying that, oh, if you want to catch me as a cocaine dealer, I know some other cocaine dealers. Why are you not catching them? So because there are others, leave me. I mean, all these cock and bull stories will have to stop. So as for him, he has no excuse to still be hanging on and to still be claiming that he's going to continue with those persecutions. The earlier he resigns and the earlier government announces that they are stopping all those malicious persecutions that are going on, the better for all of us. Because look, it is rule of law. And you see, these matters are so grave. You see, for any republic, the last bastion, the only institution that you don't want to be so tainted, so muddied, so defiled, is the judiciary. Look, as for the executive, we know that people abuse power and all of that. The legislature, we know, sometimes how things can go and how things may degenerate and all of that. But as for the judiciary, because this is where all of us go, it's the last arbiter. I mean, it's the last point. If there's no judiciary, there's no credibility in the judicial process, then people will take up arms. People will say that, okay, let's be a law unto ourselves. Let's settle scores ourselves. What has saved us, even when there are times of disputed elections, and we want to go the path of probably Sierra Leone or Ivory Coast or Kenya, other countries where they suffered instability because of electoral dispute. What has saved us is that we know that, as for Ghana, as for our judges, as for the courts, when we talk about rule of law, what happens there, where we may have concerns every now and then. There may be suspicions every now and then, but it's just suspicion. Nothing really, you don't see hardcore evidence. But this is the first time we are seeing such grave accusations and to have an attorney general. And if you listen to even some of the defenses they are putting out, they don't know they are making their case worse. That, he went to see a judge, a Supreme Court judge. What business did you have going to a Supreme Court judge's house? So all these years, when people have been saying that the law is about who knows the judge, as for this attorney general, it is about how he meets judges at night. They are confirming it. And they think they are doing themselves any good. They want to claim that there was a judge there. Why didn't you meet the judge in his chambers? Judges have now sent their work to their homes, their bedrooms. What was Godfrey Dame, Attorney General, doing in that Supreme Court judge's house at night and saying that they were discussing an unrelated matter and the Supreme Court judge's cousin, Mr. Japa, showed up? Hey! So this is what has been going on. They don't know that has opened a fresh can of worms. I am frightened. So we go to court. Some of us, we don't have access. We are only waiting for the court to be called for our lawyer to make a case and defend us. Not knowing the night before, the Attorney General is with the judges.
But he says
and his spokesperson is happy telling us this, that they were discussing other matters.
No, but he says this is a judge. Like, you also have people you respect. When they ask you to come see them, you definitely will go. That's what he's saying, that this is a judge he highly respects, who just invited him to his house. He turns up, and he's taken by surprise when Mr. Jakpa turns up.
Taken by surprise. Judge invites you, and you also go. Wow. So that's what has been happening in this country. So all the rumors, all the suspicions apparently were meritorious. Supreme Court judges inviting the Attorney General to their homes. What were they discussing? Look, an inquiry will be exceedingly interesting, and I am all for it. I am all for an inquiry. I really want to know, even if you put the Exp0sẹy clear, criminal conduct of distorting evidence, trying to fabricate evidence to nail Exp0sẹy wrongly. You put that aside. All the incidental matters coming up, I want to know. How many times have these Supreme Court judges been inviting the Attorney General? What do they discuss? Wow. The Republic of Ghana has become very interesting. I haven't watched that latest Lil Wayne movie called A Country. A Country Called Ghana?
Yes, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what his script is and all of that, but I mean, this country is becoming such a fascinating place. It's full of miracles and wonders.
You're talking about fascination. There are those who are always suspicious of commissions of inquiry. They said under this particular government, commissions of inquiries have been set up. Many. They've established many things, none of which has seen the light of day. Even Parliament, there are still questions being asked. You summoned the entire Ghana before you. You look into a matter involving attempts to remove an IGP. Up till now, we've not even heard exactly what the findings of that committee was. Yeah. Why should we trust any process that involves a commission of inquiry? Into this?
I mean, that is a meritorious assertion. I have to be honest that the institution that I'm part of, we need to do more to increase public confidence. You are right about the IGP hearings. There's another one that had to do with the Sputnik V scandal involving the health minister. At least with that one, the report was put out. It was clear that the health minister had been indicted by the committee's work. However, it didn't come to finality. For many, many months, the question had to be put for us to vote because they recommended a vote of censure, and there was a lot of feet dragging. I know behind the scenes, the majority group, that's when you add the independent candidate to them, because really it's a hung parliament. But the majority group, once again, this extreme partisanship, which is detrimental to our national progress, they didn't want to come along because you need to test to succeed. So, yes, Parliament as an institution, I will agree, there's been a lot of lack of seriousness with our job, extreme partisanship, even in the face of, look at what happened with the finance minister's probe. Our colleagues had held a press conference saying that Ken must go. At a point, the majority leader told us that all of them now agree that Ken must go. And yet, when we brought the articles of censure, they wouldn't come along. We lost the vote after the hearings. So, yes, there are legitimate concerns there, but we don't have to stop trying. At least what these probes do is that even if there will be extreme partisanship at the end, we get to see what the facts are. We can all form our impressions. We can all know what has gone on. Because I really would also want to know how many of these meetings have been taking place at night, what the Attorney General is discussing with these judges under the cover of darkness, and exactly why this Attorney General thinks that he can be fabricating evidence to prosecute people, to destroy the lives of people. Look, don't joke with what happens to people who are thrown into jail. It's the end of your career. It's the end of your life, really. You are like walking dead. You come out of prison, nobody wants to work with you. You have such a horrible record. I mean, how are you going to survive? And only for it to emerge that it was all trumped up. Look at the case of Mr. Chachuchikata. Even though eventually the records were expunged, the conviction was expunged and all of that. Look at the damage it did to him. He almost died in prison. So there are dire consequences. So when attorney generals take, and this particular attorney general takes persecution, he's pursuing persecution without integrity, without soul, so heartlessly, and he's doing it in a criminal way, you are destroying lives. So at least the probes will help us to delve deep into these matters and to have all of these matters unfold before us in open camera. So those who want to continue with the extreme partisanship can continue. But if the electorate also say that, look, we've had enough, and because of some of this extreme partisanship, which is not in the national interest, we will punish you at the polls. Remember that the December 7 election is fast approaching. Hopefully, that may get some of these MPs who engage in extreme partisanship